It's an interesting art, to be honest. All right, is there like a TLDR? All right, I'll give you the TLDR. I'll give you the TLDR and Kevin. All right, let's do this. I can't do it in 60 seconds, so we'll do it in like 3 minutes or less. Okay? Basically, Kevin Ram used to be the best loan guy in the city. As the best loan guy in the city, Kevin did the most loans the city has ever seen. We made an ungodly sum of money. We were making like half a mil, like 350 to half $1,000,000 a week back when the economy was like that was half an S class. That was like half a import from PDM type deal. This is like October, November of last year, right? We do that. We build a massive network. We sort of get our name out there in the city that way, and we become the loan guy. Everybody calls us. There'll be five, six, seven, eight other people in the Yellow Pages from Fast Loans. People would use us. It created this like weird animosity amongst the other people at Fast Loans because they want to make money too, but Kevin really didn't give a fuck. So if people were calling us, we always said yes to the role play. And yeah, they persisted for a little while. Eventually, we decided to run for mayor. We run for mayor, and we come in second place. It was a pretty good campaign. We didn't really have a presence during the other storm, and that definitely hurt us. We didn't have a presence inside of the police department. That hurt us. I think we lost by like, I don't know, the numbers are out there. 50 votes, 60 votes, 70 votes. In a city of like 40,000, 30,000 state IDs, that's not a lot. So that happens. Then we run for mayor a second time. And we lose a second time. And eventually what happens is we're just like, all right, yeah, we're done with the civilian stuff. This is in January of last year. We also get fired from Fast Loans on the second campaign. And they basically said that we were like buying votes, which was bullshit. They said that, and then they fired us. And this is when we tell Rami, because at this point Rami is like calling us for loans because we were the most reliable person by a lot. So we get fired, and then I tell Rami, yo, Rami, I can't do loans anymore, blah, blah, blah. And then we got a job at VLC Imports, and we got a job at the gallery. The VLC Imports job didn't mean anything back then. The company made no money. It was a side hustle behind votes, Kekona. It didn't mean anything. So it was more of a just like, LOL, you have a job with this company. But nobody really made any money. I think one person got like a car sale every little bit, every time the shop opens. And it was like a maybe kind of thing. It wasn't a way to get any sort of meaningful or sustainable income. It was literally just like Rami's way to sell the cars that Hutch was converting. That's what it was. Everything else was just cosmetic. So that happens. We get a job at the gallery. We start grinding the gallery. First like 3 weeks, we like, I don't know, we pop the fuck off. We literally just stand there and we just appraise every gem that walked in the door. Then eventually we get promoted to like whatever the fuck the second tier of appraiser is. The gallery has like this, it had this pretty shitty scam where like there are 3 different tiers and you have to work your way up 3 different tiers. And essentially you make no money at any of the tiers, but there's this illusion of progression because you have like a title or whatever. But we did that for a while. Eventually, we also have a job at PDM because at the same time that we got the job at the gallery, we ran into Lindbergh, Les Lindbergh, a character that you guys might not know because he hasn't really been around for a while. This is also like in January. And we saw him at PDM. We were just like, Mr. Lindbergh, you're right about these Fast Loans people. They're garbage, whatever. And Lindbergh then, he does this smug thing like, see, Kevin, I told you so, blah, blah. And then he offers us a job, or if I want a job, I'm like, yeah, I guess I'm down. And then he said, I'm gonna talk to Mac Victor about hiring you. Then we get hired, and that's our PDM arc. PDM at this time becomes like a pretty substantial portion of our income. Like, it's the same concept. Like we bounce between the gallery and PDM, but PDM was like the moneymaker. The gallery was just like a soft networking thing to sort of be in that network, but not really like do anything. So we sort of come up in PDM, and then we become the most reliable person at PDM. And then as the most reliable person at PDM, everybody starts calling us again. And whenever people want import cars, they come to us, and then we're the ones who, like, Victor and Max are kind of like semi checked out, partly because Victor is like he's not really in the city as much, and he plays like he's like an admin on the Brazil server, so he's not really around. Um, and then Max has like a job out of town or whatever, so he's not really around either. So Kevin is doing a lot of the back and forth to get people approved on their cars. One second. Um, sorry, someone's talking mouse. And you know they still hold those positions, partly because like they were Lindbergh's picks, and there's like this weird dynamic where the people who are in charge of Cerberus own PDM or whatever, but they don't want to like remove the people that Lindbergh put in place, because if Lindbergh comes back and sees that, he's going to be theoretically annoyed, even if they're not derelict of their duties in certain respects. One second. But yeah, so we pop up a PDM, and then one day Rami calls us and he's like, "Hey Kevin, you know what's going on with VLC imports? I want to make shit happen. Blah blah blah." He's getting a bunch of cars out of the tuner shop at this point. So we're like, "Okay, listen, I'm done to help you build VLC imports, but it can't be a you side hustle thing, because that's what it is now and that's what it's been." And then he was like, "Yeah, sure, I'm down. I want to build a company. Blah blah blah." So we do that. But he does this in kind of like a weird way. We like go through the effort of selling the vast majority of the cars, and then he appoints Victor as like the CEO at the time. And Victor is checked out of PDM, and then he's also going to proceed to be checked out of VLC, as we would find out shortly in the story. But he appoints this guy, and Kevin pops the fuck off. Chat. I sold literally like I sold every car that they had. I sold the entire inventory, and you know the commission was massive. And there is this thing about people in the city where like there's very much a case of the haves and have nots, but there's also this case of like the deserving and the undeserving. So Kevin at this time falls in this category of being perceived as undeserving, because the amount of money that we were able to make off of those commissions at the commission rate we had at the time was phenomenal, right? It was in line sort of with where we would be with the fast loan stuff, but it was amplified because we did an entire like company's inventory in a short period of time, in a week, in less than a week, I think. So what ends up happening is they lower the commissions, and Rami and Victor work to lower the commission, so they suppress the commissions, um, so that the company gets more money. You're going to see this as a theme throughout the story, where like if certain people make too much money, then the people who run the gallery of VLC feel like that's too much money. We need to take more or whatever. Um, so it's like, okay, whatever. And then they go to the tuner shop, and there was this big drama with like Eddie Marshall and Mayor Michigan about like Rami wanting more of a percentage from the cars that we were selling from the tuner shop. Because essentially, like the tuner shop was getting a larger percentage of the car's resale value, and they didn't really have to put in any work for it. All they did was they set up the contract where people were forced to give them the cars back. So they tried to get more money, they couldn't, and then there was this big scandal about like how Mary just wanted, like Mary was blocking the deal or the higher commissions because she wanted she wanted it for her car company. You also see this as the thing with Rami, where he's like super paranoid about other people's car companies and them succeeding or having room to eat and grow. And he basically, like, him and Victor destroyed this relationship. Like the tuner deal was the easiest deal; it was a layup. Even if you kept the old commissions, your company's still making money. But they destroyed this deal, and then VLC Imports is in this position where like, all right, now there's no way to get cars, because at this point, like, you don't have the infrastructure, the sales staff to facilitate the consignment cars, and you're not H&O. And H&O is at this point also trying to do its own thing and sell cars by themselves. Because for a little while, H&O was spoon-feeding VLC Imports cars. Hutch and these guys would convert the cars, and then they take them to Rami shop, and then they would do like a profit split. And it was a free lunch essentially. And Tuner shop deal falls apart, and then Kevin's asked to build the VLC import shit. Like build it, because the HNO thing is the only way to actually generate a substantial amount of money. And in order to build that, we had to go to everybody. We used basically our entire social network to find people in the city that'd be willing to boost 4 VLC imports at the prices that everybody else is paying. And we did it. A lot went into it. There are definitely chapters there. We're gonna skip over a lot of the chapters because it's gonna take too long if we tell that whole story. But we built it. I think we're over like 200 people across like 3 or 4 different spreadsheets who are boosting specifically for VLC imports. And these are people who are dropping off bees. They know the process. They know the rule set. They're getting paid. They're selling us Genie. They're selling us Vins. Like, it's probably the biggest operation inside of the city and probably has the most complexity and it's probably pulling in the most money, or was when I was running it. So we build that operation, and then, the Bugatti era comes up. Where we go crazy at one point because I think for some reason, like, maybe it was at the start of the gang app where like the same people got all the boosts and they just sold events to us. Like, it wasn't even a hard thing. Oh, okay, I remember. So there was a point in the city where like only certain people can boost, or I think only people in gangs or some shit. And when that was the case, we literally knew everybody. Like, there wasn't an S car that we were going to miss. And a lot of those S cars people sold to us that we then sold through VS Imports. We went crazy again, and we made his Bugatti money in less than a month. Like actually. And then in that same time, we had a house up in Vinewood, the house that he got the interior. We owned that house since like August of last year. We bought it with Peachy, who's now the cop. There's like a story there. We're gonna skip that story for now, but we bought it with Peach. We paid it off and we rented it to Sarah Ableton, who's a member of Redline. I think she's a member of Redline. But in any case, we rented it to Sarah for a really good rate for us. It was like $37.50 or $37,500 a week, for 3 months, and then the rent on the second contract was like a 6-month or a 3-month contract again, and it was like $42,500 or something. And we were making bank off of that house, chat. It was paying the asset taxes on literally all of my houses. And then Rami comes to me one day and he's like, Kevin, we're boys, right? We're boys. Kevin Lord. Yeah, we're going with the Kevin Lord because someone asked me about the business thing. So I'm going to keep going so I don't lose my train of thought. Rami asked me to sell him the house because he's going to get this construction and he wants to get a house. He was talking to like the guy who plays Michael Simone, I think. Yeah, I think it was that guy. And he was the guy who got the interior sorted. And the only condition is he had to own the house at the door. Toby? Yeah, Toby. So I told him, I was like, listen, I could sell you this house. I don't want to sell you this house because there's a contract on it. And he buys Sarah out of the contract. He basically gives her the money that she paid, and he gave her like what the contract was worth. So she got like $500,000 or something. And then I was like, listen, at some point I'm gonna want to buy another house in Vinewood. I want to get, and it's $2 million in Vinewood at the time. Let me get $2 million. And he's like, all right, don't worry, Kevin, I got you when the time comes. Fast forward, the time never came. Essentially what happened was like we were paying ourselves out of these like mega deals because some of these deals we were making like over $1 million profit, and we put it in an account so it was separated. It was like $250,000 at a time. Eventually the account gets to $1 million, and then Rami's like paranoid as fuck, and he thinks that Kevin is like stealing from him or whatever, and he makes Kevin send the money back, right? And then I'm like, okay, I'll send the money back. And then 2 days later, oh my God, it was actually Ming. Because Ming comes back and plays on the server, right? And then we're at VLC Imports. I forgot about Ming in this story. We're at VLC Imports, and then Rami says something to me, and then I don't say what I'm thinking, and then Ming just like picks up on it, and he says, Kevin, talk your shit or something like that. Because he wanted to finesse the employees. He wanted to like lower the commissions again, and the commissions are already like the only reason VLC Imports makes the money that it does for the employees is because of the conversion deals. But across the board, as a raw percentage, it's less than all the other dealerships at their base. But if you don't get like a conversion sale, you don't make any money. It's like fake money. Like you'd be better off doing Dodo every day. Um, and then basically I end up saying, yeah, I'm putting in my notice or something like that. And then offline ramen comes around like the next day or something, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm probably done. Blah blah blah. This is months ago. Oh my god, this might actually be my channel. Hold on, bro. Lore, Kevin Lore. That clip might be out there too, by the way. The clip of us at the gallery. It was old clip. This is months ago. Oh my god, wait, I think this might be it. Wait, is this it? No, it's not. I think that it's before this. It was 3 months ago. We were ready to dip out. This might be it, actually. Is it? No, because there was a bunch of them there. I think it was a shorter interaction. But like, oh, this was the house deal, by the way. We sold the house 6 months ago. I can't believe some of this is on this channel. I mean, I guess I can't believe it. But yeah, so we have this meeting, and then this is like the closest we got to quitting. Like we were done at this point. You can go and watch this if you want. It actually got a decent amount of views. And he ends up pulling us back in. He gives us $1 million, right? So he, in the same meeting, it might actually literally be in this video. He gives us $1 million, and then he says that like, oh my god, we could see. Mink sabotaging. Oh my god, Mink set it up. So he makes, so before this he makes me send the $1 million back, and now we have this meeting, and then he sends me the $1 million back. But it's supposed to be $1 million. It's supposed to be $2 million in total. Okay, yeah. So the second half never happened. He got the mill back from Dex, and he just told me, "Yeah, Kevin, I pocketed the $1 million, whatever." Because he made an investment in Dex's shoe company, and then Dex's shoe company, I think Dex wanted to go with Cerberus because Cerberus was just, I guess, to him seemed like the more likely route to getting the thing that he wanted done. And yeah, I think it's on your channel. Wait, the main clip? Is it a clip? It might be there somewhere actually. But yeah, so that happens. We end up sticking with VLC imports, and then I don't know. We did the VLC imports thing for a while. It's boring as fuck. It's not boring. Like it's very interesting work because of the complexity, right? Like there's so many moving parts. There's so many different people. There's so many interactions, and from that respect, it's pretty good. It's a good time, which is why I would do the gang shit and I would hold a position like that because it's a lot. But yeah, so the story progresses. I get bored. Eventually, we do this mayor arc where we're like, okay, so this is the important arc. This is what kind of shifts. This tilts the balance of the relationship, I think. And we actually, I guess I could tell you like a mini side arc. There was like this side arc where Kevin's running VLC imports. Alright, fuck it. I guess we just air it a lot. Basically, Kevin's running VLC imports. The Hidden start to become more prominent inside of VLC imports. The Hidden is a gang. You guys know the Hidden, right? They wear like camo. They live up in Harmony.
Oh.
Yeah, okay. Well, so basically, the Hidden are doing their thing. At this time, they're popping off. They were the best.
On the radio, you guys want to do boost?
What
boost again?
I should do this, but I want to tell this story because we're already here and it's in video format. So we basically do this. We work with them. They're the best. And at this time, there's this guy Garrett, and then there's Amika from the gallery. So Garrett and Amika, at the peak of like the hidden like popping off, Garrett and Amika are in a relationship, and then they're in their breakup arc. Kevin is hanging. Kevin, James Moulding, Amika, Deuce Smalls, Garrett, like all these people are kind of hanging out because there's like this little gallery gang dynamic for like a very 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 short period of time. Um, so that story plays out. They eventually break up. Kevin becomes this like Kevin is like a sponge for tea, you know, at this time, and maybe now we still are too, but I think to a lesser extent because of other reasons. But we're there for the tea, and we're like the person who absorbs a lot of the story, a lot of the plot from her. And obviously we're hanging out a lot, whatever. This is purely platonic, nothing more. There's this high K deal that comes up. The high K deal is Kevin gets a car. Kevin's the guy who's I've probably gotten like over 100 people in their city. In the city, their quote unquote dream car. Between PDM, VLC imports, or being on the loan side of things, right? We facilitated probably that many. So this to us was another deal. It was a Highcade. We buy the Highcade because this is an impossible car. There was just like this crazy amount of like RNG, like serendipity that led to us knowing the guy who wanted to sell the car and knowing the other guy who had it. This ties back to GG again because this Highcade deal was only possible because we sold Future the LFA and the guy wanted the LFA and money on top, right? So we reach out to Future. Future sells it to us for $4 million, I think. And then we take that, we trade it to Miles. He gives us the Highcade, and then we owe him a favor, money and a car or something like that. It wasn't the Fiona one. It was the Tony one. And then we also set up the Tony one to move because we linked Tony and Miguel up. And they did their deal, and then eventually it goes on to Miles. Like, we have this long history with this car. We're like the main person who's kind of moved the car. And eventually what happens is like Amika does her breakup arc with Garrett ends. She becomes more involved with Hydra. Kevin does his own thing. She does her own thing. And we have this car. Everybody knows we have this car. And we're a people pleaser. So this pressure gets kind of put on us to like, you know, do something with the car. We meet this guy, Rod. You guys might know Rod from the HOA. And basically he tells us like, you know, so Rod is like Rod is a shit stirrer, 100%, right? And he basically we're at Simonus, we're finding mats, and somehow the subject of the Highcade comes up because he's close with Lexi, obviously, and he's advocating for her interests, and he says something to the effect of like, you know, if a friendship comes to an end because of a car, was that friendship even worth keeping or having? Especially when like the person that the car is being held for isn't actively doing anything to make the money to get their car. So he literally said exactly the right argument at exactly the right time that would resonate with Kevin at that moment. And that's why we ultimately ended up like, I think we called Lexi, or Lexi called us like a day or two later. And then we just like, we drove around for a couple hours and we literally just talked, and we just found out that like Lexi and Kevin are basically the same person, just like on different sides of the map, essentially. And then I thought about it and I was like, all right, fuck it. So we sold her the car. We sold it to her for, I think it was $9 million. So we sell it to her for $9 million. And this terminates this relationship, sort of, right? What ultimately ended up fucking it over was like down the road, things just got awkward because of like the Hydra like pot stirring. And this is also like the Hydra pot stirring is also going to cause drama in Kevin's current story, but Kevin doesn't know that yet. But in any case, that situation comes to an end. And then classic hydra, yeah. That leaves like a gap inside of um wait, I'm sorry, I'm trying to remember the fucking what was the point of me going on the side quest here in the story? We were at VLC, then the high K thing happened, the hidden, and then oh, I told it to color the context going forward. All right, so that happens. So you have some context to like the people in and around VLC imports and Rami and all that. And then things kind of like balance out for a while. Eventually, we decided to run for mayor. Okay, I remember. This is why. It's because we eventually start to run for mayor, and we kind of shift things up. We like make more of an effort to get out of our like normal rhythm, and we get a bunch of jobs. I mean, I guess now I can't really show all the jobs necessarily, but we got like I think we invested in Amazon at this point. We got a job at the Jewel Dragon, Pixel Perfect. And then Pixel Perfect eventually leads us to Matty Batty and SOS eventually becomes like more important inside of the VLC imports and blah blah in the current storyline. We get all these jobs, just to like have more FaceTime with people, and we go on this like job grinder arc. We start building our like team for the mayor campaign. I started looking into like everything that you need because I've done it twice. I kind of know more or less what you need. We sort of let it slip to Conan and eventually to Rami that we're gonna run for mayor. And this is when we start getting more calls from Rami to do things. Like there's some clips. There are always clips, chat. There's always clips, always receipts. We start getting invited more to do things, and like some of those things are things that are more like criminally related. Wow, this video did pretty good. 5K. This video did pretty good actually. 1,003 hours. This was actually crazy. If you haven't seen it, it's on the clip channel, chat. So this was 2 months ago. We start getting invited to more things. A lot of it is like plain shit with plain shit. This is also how we end up losing our license, doing something like this. This is while we're trying to run for mayor and get the expungement, we're getting called to do these things, which is, you know, it's kind of a double-edged sword, right? Because we're putting ourselves in these types of positions, we are exponentially more likely to fail our expungement. I'm not saying that was like the intention necessarily, but that was definitely the outcome, right? So this was one day, and then we're literally just flying around, just like going to the bank in Legion Square type deal, and getting chased by a jet. It's a good time from a content perspective. Oh, and then we blew up here because of the head pop. But what ends up happening was like we get called while we're doing like H&O shit to go and pick him up. He wanted a helicopter at a specific location. The location was kind of shit for the type of helicopter that we use. There's like weird mechanical interactions with the sea heli thing, but it got fucked. Basically, we got there, we brought him the heli, we went up, and he blew up immediately. And Kevin then loses his pilot license, and Kevin then fails his expungement, can't run for mayor. And then after that, we're like, all right, listen, Rami, we gotta do more crime shit. Like, I can't do the mayor shit, so I gotta do something else. And that just never materializes. Like, I don't think we got called. I think we did one bank after that, and it was like hey, we're at Amazon, hey, come into a bank. Maybe. I mean, we could check the video for the timelines, check the highlights for the timelines. But that happens. So we're just wandering around the city at this point, and then as we're wandering around the city, we're on our bike. Eventually, we find no purpose in the world, and we're just like, I don't know, maybe I'm gonna go back to playing World of Warcraft. This is me in real life thinking this. And eventually we get found by Maddie Batty, who's a salesperson at the Bullet Club. At the Bullet Club, the number one salesperson at that. She sells us a Karambit. At this point, Kevin works at the Bullet Club, and Kevin has zero interest in buying Karambits. But generally, whenever people make an effort, we do our best to like reciprocate, and usually more so than people on the other end. So we end up getting this Karambit. It's like at the time we used to wear like a navy I don't know, I literally can't look at myself. What? We end up getting this navy Karambit that matches our outfit at the time. It's kind of our like daily outfit. So it was auspicious that it matched. How is this so hard to see? I'm so confused. I think it's because I'm in the house. So Kevin is a simp is what you're saying. What? But anyways, we get this Karambit, and then that kind of starts that arc. And then I'm gonna fast forward through that arc because that arc is long, and we'll save the recap on that arc for the next chapter of that arc, depending on what the next chapter of that arc is. And basically that entire time, I remember the more of the story. Okay, I'm gonna try and focus. Remember, the story here is how did Kevin go into the business stuff or into the gang stuff, right? So we're still in that story, okay? For anybody tuning in late. We go in that arc, and then we're basically addicted to that arc for a very, very long time. Like, Rami said he didn't see me for like 2 months or a month or whatever. That wasn't actually true. He was grossly exaggerating. I was around. I just wasn't around when he was available. But in any case, I'm going to fast forward through all of that, and eventually we're doing VLC import stuff. We're not doing VLC import stuff. She gets a call about VLC import stuff, and it's Marty, and Marty wants to know about a car. Actually, we're skipping so much. Wait, do you want to skip to the actual, like, Kevin joined GG, or do you want, like, the middle section of that, like, arc? Because the middle section is also relevant to the Rami scenario, and why we ultimately end up deciding to like leave. I just don't know if we want that whole story to be a long ass video. Are you at the mid? Okay. All right. So the book club, we meet her at the book club, and then nothing comes of this for sure at the start. And then, other than like, funnily enough, someone else who also works at the Bullet Club found out that I bought a Karambit from this person. And they were like, damn, it'd be your own boys or something like that, or your own friends or something like that, which is kind of funny to me at the time. But anyways, yeah, the Miguel Rainey thing happened. Yeah, so we Bullet Club, and then I get called for jewelry and stuff. I get called to like fix stuff a lot, and then she called me one day, and then somehow or another we started talking about like she's with this guy Jack, who's in her gang. I think I got called to fix his stuff. Yeah, I think that's what happened. But in any case, we do that, and then somehow we ended up talking about PDM, and then she talks about how she's like she loves cars or whatever. And then how she like applied for a job at PDM and whatever. So we do like this mock like interview / test drive / something. I don't even know what to call it necessarily. But we do that. It actually goes pretty well, and I was fairly impressed at the time. So I was like, okay, I can make some effort to help this person because they're fairly competent, independent of anything else. And at this point, there wasn't anything else. It was literally just like, oh, this person wants this job. They're around when it makes sense, and they'd probably be a good fit, especially when there's no company culture here. LOL XD. And we do that. Eventually, Max gives her like a interview, She gets hired there. She gets hired at like imports. She gets hired at these other places, and then imports. She brings on her gang, and this is actually pretty important for the story because like some of the people in her gang are actually fairly competent. Like they're super underrated. They're underrated by a lot. I think some of them are starting to get noticed. Like this guy Stan. He's doing shit with Redline, and I think he's like maybe gaining some traction now, maybe not. I don't know. I'm not following that story close enough to know. He's the hacker. Yeah, he's the hacker. But yeah, there are a few other people there. Kevin has like not weird, but Kevin has like varying opinions about different people in that gang. But yeah, that happens, and then I don't know. There's a whole bunch of like relationship behavior that happens in between. Then now that's sort of part of the story, sort of not part of the story. So I'm gonna skip it just because I don't wanna like go like tell that story right now. But from the car perspective, their gang comes on, and their gang does a lot of like they put in a lot of work. They kind of become like the new Hidden from Kevin's perspective, because like with the exception of like Maddie is like a secondary organizer versus like the Hidden didn't have anybody to organize necessarily. It was really Kevin reaching out to make it happen versus like she reached out and she got everybody organized and I didn't have to do anything. And as somebody who does a lot, having just like 10% of the burden shifted away is pretty big, especially when you don't really want to do it necessarily or you're bored of doing it. So we kind of like meet at this point where Kevin kind of has like this pretty big vacuum in his life because he can't do the mayor thing. And I've wanted to do the mayor thing for a while, and I think we actually had a reasonable strategy to win. Like I had a lot of fucking ride-alongs lined up, and that was the big weakness we had with the police department. I had no presence in the police department, and had I gotten like 25% of the votes overall from the police department, it would have been enough to bring me up and pull the other people down, so much so that we probably win or get a lot closer to winning. But yeah, so that happens. They're important. And then yeah, the Miguel and Randy thing happened as a function of Rami, because Rami finds out that we're dating this person, and then he kidnaps, or he gets Pigeon to kidnap her, and then Pigeon does it. No way, there multiple things happen. Wait, I actually forgot what happened first: the kidnapping or the Well, I actually don't remember which happened first: the kidnapping or the Pigeon proposal. I think it might have been the. Oh my god, I don't remember. The story's fading. I could probably figure it out if I wanted to, but we'll just say that these things kind of happened at the same time. Like one, she gets kidnapped, and then actually, I think. Oh my god, I don't remember. But in any case, these guys basically tell her that Kevin was like. So part of what they said was true, right? That Kevin's always with a different girl or whatever. And at the time, this was like, it was like a half truth. Because like we were on our like hangout era, so we kind of hung out with a lot of people. But yeah, they do that. They stir the pot, and then she seemed really annoyed by it. So I kind of like was like, "Hey, well, what happened here?" And then it kind of like made the situation worse, because then eventually they come back. They like scoop her up from PDM, and then this bozo idiot proposes and eventually shoots me. And to be honest, I think this scenario actually probably made this relationship better. Like the roleplay between us got better as a function of this. So in one way it was kind of bad, in another way it was kind of good. But that happened. So this is them stirring the pot, right? And then it doesn't really affect the car company at this point. It does affect the car company later, but at this point, it doesn't affect the car company. And what was the next? Twisted words into a worse matter, pretty much. Wait, what do you mean? What days do you stream? I mean, most days, to be honest. Practically 7. Pigeon match. Is Kevin at your peak king? I don't know. I've been told I have no riz, but The helicopter incident was somewhat close after that. The helicopter incidents. Okay, well, so I think after that, like, situation at Rami's house, Rami's like, he asked me if he wants me to, if I want him to kill Pigeon. At this point, I don't give a fuck. I kind of want to, like, exit that scenario because, it was like SBS turned serious. So that's more or less what we do, and we just don't fuck with him. And this is why, like, we couldn't go to, like, we literally couldn't go to Street Team. Like, even if I, Kevin, OC personally wanted to go to Street Team, it wouldn't make sense to go to Street Team. Like, it just wouldn't. Um, and you'll kind of see this as like a theme where, like, well, you could pick up on the theme if you have the if you're invested enough, you pick up on the theme. But anyways, twist the words to make it, yeah, worse for Kevin. Oh yeah, 100%. Because like it probably was kind of true, like, and it's funny, like, this would happen across multiple characters where, like, top characters will see us and it'll be like, who is it this, like, Ranga or Penta did this a lot. There's like, is this your new wife or something like that? Which is funny as fuck. It was funny as fuck to me, but obviously the character doesn't want that, like, you don't want that energy out there, right? If you're somewhat serious about that particular relationship. And at this point we are. Gotta put Kevin and Cookie in the room, see what happens, to be honest. Oh, we're dead. Oh, we're not dead. Yeah, I don't know. Might stay wait. Well, we're still technically in a relationship. We're still in a relationship with Maddie Batty, and Kevin's a one-woman person. But anyways, where was I in the story? Oh yeah, the kidnapping situation was kind of funny because it ended up turning into a situation where, like, Rami orchestrates this kidnapping of this person. Guys, I'm starting to think that Kevin and Rami had a pretty abusive relationship as I replay all the events in my mind. But anyways, he gets her kidnapped by Pigeon, but he goes to sleep, so he's not able to I don't know, talk to her, I guess, because, you know, his fear again is that the car business is going to go down south because Kevin is too involved with Maddie Batty. And this wasn't the case. In fact, this was the opposite, where, like, she was carrying some of the slack for us because I really didn't give a fuck at this point. And woke itch Kevin. Honestly, the woke take. So it's like the opposite of the reality is what is being portrayed in his mind, and he's making actions, or he's taking actions based on that incorrect assumption. And that happens. We ultimately decide, like, you also find that we'll ultimately just ignore most things just because, like why? Like, why? Like, this is my attitude. Like, why engage with some of it? Because some of it is clearly SBS and some of it is clearly just, like, unnecessary. I don't know how to be eloquent about my perception of this, but anyways, SBS terminal. You know what I think it was? I think the Pigeon thing was so, like, SBS turned real so quickly that it made, like, all the other SBS situations like, all right, I'm just gonna pull out as soon as I have the ability to, and we'll just disengage from it. This is why you never really see Kevin take retribution against anybody who, like, fucks with that relationship, or any of the relationships really. Usually, it's more like we disappear from the scenarios, or the people involved in the scenarios. All right, this is why you don't really see us, like, fuck with Pigeon or Miguel and Randy, or And I guess now we have a different set of reasons because of the VOC import stuff. Our we're in story, right? The shot, the thing, imports. Doesn't see Kevin for a while. I start coming back around because, hold on. I start coming back around like earlier. I forget why. Oh, there's like a train situation where like, I don't know. Do you guys remember when the conductor like made it so there were less people, or the server they just had less slots? I don't know. I'm talking like I'm in game. There are less slots on the server, and in that scenario, like a lot of people couldn't be around, Matt included, but also like the people who supported VLC imports from a like, hey, we need this person for mats, we need these people for boosts, we need these people for VIN scratches, we need these people for transports. Like those people couldn't be around, so that business kind of like went out, and I was around a lot less during that time, mostly because like there was a lot less to do for the two reasons that I just mentioned, right? And then Rami took that as like us kind of abandoning, or felt like he took it as us abandoning company, and then I don't know. Eventually, when all the grinders kind of or grinders, when the server slots went back up, I think we start coming around more, and then we get back into the swing of things. At this point, VOC is making like, we get it back to like tip top shape, and the company is making probably, I want to say that we poured like 10 to 15 million in that account in like a month and maybe 6 weeks. But I don't think that the slots have been up good for that long, so I'm gonna say less than that. I want to say within like a month across that period, because there was a lot of leftover shit from the previous time. I'm pretty sure we did like 6 to 12 million just poured into that account. And yeah, money printer go yeah, exactly. Yeah, as a function of me, it was a function of, you know, all the people hired at VOC imports. It was a function of the server economy kind of shifting back up. All right, and now here's the big plot twist, kind of. We're hanging out one day, super late, like probably 20 minutes before restart, and Marty calls Maddie and asks her about a car. Now they want to know about. He wants to know about who owns a car, right? I hear like something she says makes it clear that he's asking for that information, and I tell her don't say anything about that, and it's because prior Miguel did something with information that he got from one of our sales staff, and that information was he gave us his car to sell. We sold the car for $9 million. The commission we agreed upon, or that was stated, was 10%. He didn't honor the 10%. He wanted to give a reduced cut. He gave a reduced cut. He left the reduced cut with Patar, the person that he sold the car to, and then Rami took that money and didn't pay the sales staff. So it was like a triple, like, these guys are fucking idiots, don't do business here type of arrangement. And it was just like, okay, well, I'm not going to really work all that hard to sell these cars because we're not going to get paid for them, and we're not going to get paid the percentage that we want or that we agreed upon, right? So basically, she's in this conversation with Marty. I tell her, don't tell her, because this is going to be the new policy going forward. Like, period, end of story. We're just not going to tell people who's the buyer, who's the seller. It doesn't matter. We're doing the deal. You're going to do it with us, or you're not going to do it. And Marty doesn't like that. And then he calls me because for whatever reason, I don't know how he knew I was there with her. But anyways, I speak to Marty, and this is when he first, like, we talk about the car thing. I don't remember if I give him the information or not. And then he makes the joke about me joining GG. At this time, she says, "Oh, you should do that." I'm like, okay. It's a joke. It's clear, or it's somewhat clear in my mind, or it feels like in my mind. Oh, this is a joke. We're just messing around. Because me and him had joked before, earlier, about doing stuff together. Because I said something at the Jewel Dragon, like, I think you did it was Russ. Okay, maybe I did. I don't remember. I remember prior to that, I made a joke about doing like boosting or something, and then he was like, "Aren't you a Civ or something like that?" I was like, "No, I've hit banks thrown me or something like that." And then he obviously makes that offer, makes that pitch, and then the next day he calls back, and then the next day we speak about it again. And actually, somebody clipped it on my channel. Hold on, because I think I was streaming then. Actually, can someone find it? It's basically him making a joke about me joining and how he was going to like he wanted Rami to meet him on the basketball court. Actually, I don't freaking remember. Hold on, it's here somewhere, surely. I love receipts. It's like this month, probably, right? Um, is it here? I like how when I scroll through this, I'm just on O block. Oh my god, I just remembered I skipped some pretty important plot points, but you know what? It's fine. I don't think anybody's as invested in the story as I am, so it doesn't matter. Probably. You don't skip dance game? There's only like small stuff that I skipped, I think. Oh wait, I think this is it. Is this it? What? Why am I asking for a clip in there? Why does this have what? Alright, that's not it. I think I'm like standing outside of that house. Oh wait, this is it maybe? Oh, this is it. This is it. Asking for clipception, yeah. So basically, the context is he asked me when am I joining GG, and I said, "Oh, I need to talk to Rami," and then he's like, "All right, do you need to? Oh, you gotta talk to your G, blah blah blah," and then he proceeds to say this. And then basically, basically we know that the gallery is getting like shut down and moving, blah blah blah. So we kind of wait, we kind of slow roll that, just so everything isn't really happening all at the same time. Although I think the order that everything happened was kind of perfect. Hey Kevin, keeping up with the YouTube channel, yeah, I appreciate it, buddy. Um, what? No, he doesn't. Anyways, yeah, so that's the thing. We have the conversation, and then like the rest of the story is kind of on YouTube. You got like if you've been keeping up with the story, then you kind of know it already. Kevin ends up becoming a hangaround. There's like this weird ultimatum, not weird, but there's like this ultimatum. You know, GG or this, GG or that. Basically, every step of the way, like everybody has just been like, if you join GG, you lose this. And to be honest, like that mentality just makes me want to do it more. That's part of it, but the other part of it is like, you know, the way people react in those situations tells you a lot about like, you know, where their values are. Because at the end of the day, like Kevin was good to literally all these people. Like we were fair to all these people. And like it's also one thing to like have an issue with somebody joining a gang and then firing them from your businesses because you don't trust them in your businesses. It's another thing to like push beyond that. GG can make 15 mil a week if they really wanted to. I mean, yeah, to be honest, like I'm pretty committed to like, you know, we haven't turned it on yet, right? But like at some point, it's just gonna be we're going to put all the energy that we had spread across, 12 different businesses or 10 different businesses, and we're just going to pour it into a handful of the GG run businesses. And then those businesses will do well because that's what we do. We make businesses run well. It's just a matter of timing more so than if we're going to do it. Like, we will do it at some point. And then it's going to be like, there was this interaction with James Malding and Julian at the gallery yesterday where it's like, we're leaving and they don't have any faith that we could sell cars, but like these guys forget that we've sold cars and we've made more money outside of VOC imports than we made inside of VOC imports. And like the only reason that the VOC imports money is even really competitive is a function of the fact that like conversions is free money. Conversion cars in the server is for free launch. Period. End of story. The only reason that we stand out in any regard in that industry is because we're able to organize more people than anybody else was able to organize. And if there were like other opportunities or that opportunity was presented through other means or whatever, if there's a people component, we're just going to do it better than these guys. Just period in the story.
Do the same boost with me?
Wait, what'd you say?
You want to take boost with me?
I am down. Oh, what's the group? Now back to business. All right, chat. That was basically the story. There's like a lot more going on, and there's a lot that Kevin doesn't know yet. So, we'll tell the rest of the story when the rest of the story kind of plays out. W Lore, was that W Lore chat? Also, don't forget to follow if you haven't followed.